Chapter 1, Introduction. F. Scott Fitzgerald was born in 1896 and died in 1940, a year before the United States entered World War II. He's generally considered one of the finest American writers of the 20th century. Many people, such as myself, consider him perhaps the best. Fitzgerald is considered a member of the lost generation of the 1920s, many of whom lived in Paris and were expatriates. He had 4 novels. The best known is The Great Gatsby, but perhaps the most telling and beautiful was Tender as the Night. He also had an early one, The Side of Paradise and The Beautiful and the Damned. They all merit reading. His last one was not finished, The Last Tycoon, but is very interesting. He also wrote numerous short stories which are excellent at treating youth, such as the Dalyrimple one in this collection, Dalyrimple Gets It Wrong. It's a marvelous look at youth in a way few writers capture. Hemingway didn't quite, Cather didn't, Dreiser didn't. It's a wonderful story about youth, and perhaps the most accessible for the student. Among his work, his short stories were some of his finest ones, and we've included 3 here not normally read, but we think very much worthwhile. The first one, as we mentioned, was Dalyrimple Goes Wrong, which has a little bit of the flair that Dreiser had in An American Tragedy, with some of the elements. Jemina, the mountain girl, has a taste of Mark Twain in the vernacular, and is a humorous story that really, I think, is marvelous. Tarquin of Cheapside is a fascinating look back in history that is almost indescribable because it's so different from anything else, which I think makes it charming too. As usual in the Simply series, when we take a written work not intended by the author to be read, we do insert a few words in place of others that make it more accessible. The beautiful nature of F. Scott Fitzgerald's writing did not require such a thing. Sometimes I think he's underestimated just because he does write so beautifully, and you kind of go through the champagne of writing and sometimes don't pay attention to the story as much as you otherwise might. A few readers have asked what kinds of things we do to add a word here or there for clarity, and this case is a good one. In one of the stories he refers to Mutt and Jeff, which, when Fitzgerald was alive, was a long-standing, famous cartoon that lasted well through the 20th century, long after Fitzgerald died. But we refer to it as Mutt and Jeff cartoon, not just Mutt and Jeff. This appears in Dalyrimple Goes Wrong. Enjoy these stories. Always remember that there's no need to listen to this introduction again. It's here for the learned reader and student, not for the academic. For an academic, there's nothing new. For a reader, there may be, and we hope we presented a few ideas that you enjoy. At the very end, we include approximately 30 quotations. We think that Fitzgerald is marvelous in his witticisms, and we put a few forth here for your interest and your listening pleasure. Thank you. Chapter 2, Dalyrimple Goes Wrong. In the millennium, an educational genius will write a book to be given to every young man on the date of his dissolution. This work will have the flavor of Montaigne's essays and Samuel Butler's notebooks, and a little of Tolstoy and Marcus Aurelius. It will be neither cheerful nor pleasant, but will contain numerous passages of striking humor. Since first-class minds never believe anything very strongly until they've experienced it, its value will be purely relative. All people over 30 will refer to it as depressing. This prelude belongs to the story of a young man who lived, as you and I do, before the book. The generation which numbered Brian Dalyrimple drifted out of adolescence to a mighty fanfare of trumpets. Brian played the star in an affair which included a Lewis gun and a 9-day romp behind the retreating
Sample complete. Ready to continue?